We're going to see how to create a functional test from an existing scenario made with Selenium. So I'm going to select the scenario. And we are going to look at the content. So we are testing the Skateboard Shop website, on which you can select a skateboard and then add it to the basket, then proceed to the checkout, then we're going to a register form where we fill in the name, first name, last name, email, etc. We're going to look at the prices that are displayed on the page. We store the price of the basket in a variable. We store the price to pay in another variable, and then we will compare the two variables to be sure the price to pay is equal to the price of the basket, and we accept the conditions. So what we want to do is to change the fixed values of the scenario into variables that are going to be replaced in real time with values present in datasets. To do that, we are going to the type of the first name, and here is the first name fixed value. We will transform this fixed value into a value coming out of the dataset. To do that, we are going to use the following syntax: dollar, opening brace, in underscore the name of the variable, first name, comma, we preserve the original value, which will be the default value, and closing brace. The prefix in means the variable is coming in the scenario from the dataset, and that's it. We can save the step. We'll do the same with all the steps we need to be filled from data from the dataset. In last name, comma, default value, etc. Okay, all values have been replaced with a specific syntax, and we can also use the variable name prefixed with out just to be able to use it in the dataset, just coming out of the scenario and being used in dataset expressions. We're going to see that later. So what we can do now is to create a new functional test with this scenario. Let's do it. Here we're on the functional test settings, and we have a lot of options available. First of all, the scenario we have used to create the functional test, where you can add another scenario already present or create a new one after this one to make a meta scenario. You can overload the address of the website. You can select the devices on which you want the functional test to be played. Let's select Chrome and Firefox. You can activate the screenshot comparison between each runs, which means we can graphically compare the screenshots of every run to see if there are graphic differences between runs. You can fix an API code to be able to use and to control this functional test from our public API, and you can activate datasets. So here we have a spreadsheet which are the dataset settings. What we have in lines, you can recognize all the variables that has been read out of the scenario. The in first name, the in last name, the ist email, in email, etc., etc. And in the columns, you will find the datasets, and here you'll find the values. For instance, if I want to, for the dataset 1 and the last name, type in John, so the value John will be injected in the last name variable into the scenario during the run. Here we filled the spreadsheet with 3 different datasets, one with John, one with Steve, and one with Jack. We filled in the first name, the last name, a random email. This is to be sure to have a unique value of the email, and we use an internal function which is a random email to be sure to generate a unique email with a prefix which will be John and a suffix which will be yopmail.fr. The password, the address, the city, and something we verify on the UI, which is the presence of the free text. Here we are doing something interesting with the out variables. We are taking the out price to pay and compare it to the out price of the basket. If the two are equal, then the value of in accept conditions will be true and the test will go on. Otherwise, it will be in error. And then you just to launch the functional test. You can launch it here with this button. You can launch it with the API or with an internal timer where you can program the runs during the day. Let's go and see the results. Here we got a dashboard of all the results of all the tests. In line you'll find the functional tests, and in cadence you'll find the devices. Here we find our tests, and we can see the runs of Chrome or Firefox are okay, and you can click on it to get the details. Here you can find all the unit tests that have been executed. For example, you have John with Chrome, and you have Steve with Chrome, and Jack with Chrome, and you have John with Firefox, Steve with Firefox, and Jack with Firefox. On every single unit you can go and see the details. You'll see all the steps being executed. You can find the values that have been injected from the dataset. Typically here you'll find the random email. Everything is okay. You can share the test with anybody. Just copy the link and send it to anyone. You can export the script in the Selenium JSON IDE format for external usage, and you can validate this execution with a comment if you want. This is useful to be used in a report later on. What we have done is to generate explicit errors with the tests, and to do that we just change some data in the datasets. We have modified the verify shipping that appears on the interface, which normally is free, to expect something different for Steve and for Jack, meaning the shipping price for Steve will be 10 euros and the shipping for Jack will be 20 euros. So we'll see the results. Here is a chart of the results with a lot of red. We can go and see the details. For the datasets, John, everything is okay, we didn't change the value. The Steve datasets and the Jack datasets raise errors. And as you can see here, you got the error message, free doesn't match with 10 euros. And here, free does match with 20 euros. You can see the details of the error, the steps are okay, and the steps that is in error, which is this one with a screenshot, so you can have a graphic view of the step. You have also the ability to see a video that had been recording during the play, you can play it and see all the tests running. You see the command here that applies in closed caption. There is another option that we have activated into the scenario, and this is the screenshot comparison. We have activated the option for the functional test, and we have specified one step to be enabled. This is the first step, and here we got a camera, meaning this step will be compared at every run. As you can see here, there is a banner with a changing image, so we have to exclude this image from the screenshot comparison. To do that, we're going to the mask, and here we see that we have made a special mask to be sure not to consider this area. To see how it works, we make a small graphic change, and here is the result. We can see there is a screenshot comparison error, and here are the three screenshots, the one which is a reference one, and the one from now, and the differences. You can have a better look on it. Here we got the error screenshot, and here we got the reference screenshot. Here we got the comparison. You can see that the skate turned from white to red, and it has been detected. Here you see the mask. You can also find global KPIs of the functional test runs. You can see the history. You can go back in the history and see what has happened the day before, and you can export special reports in a PDF format. And all this conclude in a short presentation of the functional test included in Cloud Netgear.